Alright, I hope you guys are looking forward to do the last step so that you can really cast a game with this kind of setup, and that is installing AhliObs. So AhliObs is an observer for Heroes of the Storm. Let me show you really quick how that looks like. So if we are going here somewhere where I can see my game, and I'm gonna put this temporarily up to the front so that you can see what I'm doing in Heroes of the Storm. So that's my Ethereum, by the way. Feared and Loathed. If you go to options, if you go to observer and replay, you'll see I have here AhliObs 0.72 instead of default, and the same on the replay because I like to have it in my replay as well. So the question is, how do we get this, and what is it? What it is, if you go into your recordings, and let's say I go to this one, let's load this up really quick. The observer is just how information is being displayed in your UI here. Yes, please stop talking. Okay, here we are. So the way this information up here is displayed and what kind of panels you have available down here, that is all determined by your observer. Alright. So if I close this and keep in mind on how things looked. Let's go back out of this. Now let's go to options and change it to the default. And let's load this up again. Now you see it looks completely different. That thing before was down here. That thing is much larger. My panels are also much larger. Actually, they are hiding a lot of the gameplay, right? So this is why AhliObs is usually preferred in the casting scene, because things are just too big like that. And this is why the scenes we created in OBS are laid out for AhliObs. So if you're not using AhliObs, everything will look kind of weird. Actually, let me demonstrate that. Let's go and load it up again. And now let's put this where it belongs. Let's go into the game overlay. You see, like, all these things are not matching at all. Alright. I mean, that matches kind of, but like the sudden death here in the middle is just like planted right in front of these other things. If we are using AhliObs instead, it will all look quite nice. So, gonna do it one more time. Here we go to AhliObs. Except let me make this a little bit larger so you can really see it. Alright, so now with the other observer, you see this just looks perfect, right? And that's not a coincidence, of course. It's meant to be like that. Yeah, so that is that. So you need AhliObs for these overlays, for at least for the game overlay. Like the other stuff works too, with other overlays. But at least your game overlay needs to be adjusted to the kind of observer you are using. And this overlay we have in this theme is for AhliObs. So you need the AhliObs observer. So now the question is, how do you get AhliObs observer? Well, take a guess. You have to download it. So you go to this homepage, and the link is of course in the document accompanying this series, and you download the most recent version. I'm not sure I actually showed you the most recent version, but get the most recent one, and then there is like some description here what you have to do. You have to place the file in your users documents Heroes of the Storm interfaces. So if I go here, well, you find it in that folder, but you are not named Ali, you are named whatever you are named on your computer. Once you have done that, you can select the observer UI in the game, as I just showed you, and that's it. You can check out the hotkeys which are available to you. So for example, the talents panel I showed you before, that's under Control+1. Another one which is pretty interesting usually is experience, Control+4. And yeah, the others are also interesting, but I think talents and experience. So usually you show talents like all the time, and then you sometimes switch to like experience or some of the other ones. Yeah, and there's like some cinematic hotkeys and also like the zoom hotkeys and so on. So now that we have installed AhliObs and have selected it in Heroes of the Storm, over here in the options menu, now you are truly ready to do your casting. And that means that was a very short episode, and that's totally fine. You are now ready to cast. So let's talk about that in the next episode really quick.